I might be making a really stupid decision because at 44 years old, I've decided I'm going to do a photo shoot. Now, before you think this is some kind of like midlife crisis or something, I can assure you it's not, right? I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not one of these fitness influencers who live and breathe it. I'm just a dad who works full time, runs a small business, plays rugby occasionally, and most weeks I'm just trying to squeeze 4 workouts in. So in just under 4 months' time, so it's like back end of June, the idea is to step right out of my comfort zone in front of a camera, even though I'm doing that now, but in completely different circumstances, in probably just a pair of shorts with a load of fake tan on, and supposedly in the best shape of my life. But we'll see. But of course, I'm going to be doing it while juggling work, running my business, most importantly being a dad and husband, and everything else you can think of that comes with that. This video or this sort of series I'm going to do about it is about like a crazy transformation. It's just to see whether a bloke in his 40s can actually pull it off. Matron! That sounds a bit rude, doesn't it? And what's worth noting as well is that during that preparation time, I've got a 3 nights away for a retirement do in Portugal, which, you know, I'm going to be drinking during that. I have 2 nights away for my mother-in-law's 70th at like a house a bunch of us have rented out. You know, and I've just got all the other things that come with it. I've got my daughter's birthday, Easter's coming up, you know. I know it doesn't mean I have to eat shitloads of chocolate, but, you know, all that kind of stuff's coming up. So it's going to potentially throw a few pitfalls in my way, should we say. And I'm still going to be trying to play rugby every few weeks. You know, we only have games every like 2 to 3 weeks, but I am going to be trying to squeeze them in still. So where I'm starting from right now is I have been in a gaining phase since February last year. During that time, I still played rugby, got injured in October, quite a nasty shoulder injury, which really threw my training off. I still managed to train, but it really meant I had to completely change up my training. There was a bunch of exercises I couldn't do. So that really threw my progress off, and we probably didn't quite gain as much muscle as me and my coach wanted to, but such is life. It is what it is. They're the risks of continuing playing rugby in your 40s. Like I mentioned, I've got a couple of trips away. I'm still going to be working, doing my shift pattern at the fire station, all that kind of stuff. Definitely not starting from an ideal position or, you know, starting point or whatever you want to call it. So I've booked it really because I've been thinking about it for years, and like, you know, now in my 40s, I'm like, you know, I feel like it's okay to stay looking decent, to just kind of tick over, you know, and things like that. You know, I eat well, I track my calories the vast majority of the time, but I think like, I just feel like it's time to step it up a notch a little bit and just see if I can do it and I can not talk shit and, you know, make sure I do see it through. But I feel like just being okay isn't a standard for me to aim for. I want to try and push it a bit further, that's all. Now, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm still under medical supervision using TRT. So, of course, all being well, that's going to help keep my all my hormone levels in check and things like that, because they're at a really good level right now. Because last time I did a fat loss phase, I did get some struggles with moods and things like that, which was going to be understandable on less calories, but it certainly affected my moods, it affected my sleep. So hopefully using TRT is probably going to help me a little bit with that. So, but we'll see. But the thing to remember is, just because I may be using TRT, it's not going to replace discipline. It is not going to replace the training sessions. It's not going to replace the meal prep, the getting the steps in, the early mornings to get my workouts done when I've got to go and work that day, and, you know, walk the dog at fucking 4:30 in the morning to get my workout done by 6 a.m. or whatever it is. You know, and in reality, when I go on like the 3 nights away for the retirement do, and those couple of nights away, which is just the couple of nights in for my mother-in-law's 70th, is like literally the week of the photo shoot. So that's going to be really tricky to manage, but I'm confident I can do it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be super restrictive. I'm going to work with my coach to make sure we plan it appropriately and that we can make it work. You know, we'll do our best. I'm not doing this, you know, to sort of say to people, you need to book a photo shoot, otherwise you're not pushing hard enough or anything like that. This is purely for me to see what I can do. It's something I've thought about for years and never really pulled my finger out with it, and here I am. So I've got the date locked in. I think it's like the 13th of June, something like that. And life's just going to carry on as normal. You know, nothing's going to change in that aspect. I'm just going to keep my training consistent, or as consistent as I can. I'm going to keep my diet super consistent, but allow me to squeeze things in where I need to, and not just use it as a, you know, fucking free for all. And as time goes on, I'm sure calories will get adjusted. No doubt as we get close to the shoot, calories will keep dropping, but there'll be times when they'll probably drop that little bit lower as I approach these events, like, you know, the sort of 3 nights away and things like that, you know, so that we can at least give me some sort of a buffer, if you like, with the calories I'm going to make up for on those 3 nights away with, you know, potentially, well, not potentially, but drinking alcohol and eating probably a little bit more indulgent food, but, you know, doesn't mean I have to go crazy or anything like that. And just got to make sure I do my best to keep my shoulder being well managed, keep it rehabbing like I do, be mindful and hopeful that it doesn't get injured again playing rugby. And that's pretty much it. I've just got to do the best I can. So keep your eyes peeled. I'd appreciate you following along. If you've got any questions about it, any comments, your thoughts on it. If you've done a photo shoot yourself, let me know how it went. You know, I'd love to hear your comments on it about what the process was like, what the day was like, because I've never done one before. So I'm interested to see how it goes. And obviously drop us a subscribe. That'd be lovely. I'll see you in a bit.